Hello, digital learners. My name is Sergi Gonzalez, a digital learning specialist in CFBISD. Today I'm going to show you how to add a language for your keyboard input on your Chromebook. To begin, we're going to look down here at the bottom right on your status bar. You're going to click once on your user icon. You're going to look for the Chromebook settings gear here, and you're going to click once. Once your Chromebook settings have been loaded, you're going to use two fingers to scroll all the way down until we see an advanced options button. Click on this down arrow and continue scrolling until we see the languages and input. There are several ways to get here. This is just the simplest method for, I think, for new learners. So we're going to use this method. We're going to click on Input Method. Right now we should see US keyboard, but we're going to be adding some other keyboards. So go ahead and click on Manage Input Methods. The two keyboards that we're going to be adding are US International Keyboard. So go ahead and click the little checkbox, and US Extended Keyboard. I'm going to scroll down because I want you all to notice that I have the options to select Spanish keyboard. I'm not sure if everyone has this option. I'm going to ask that if you are, for example, a bilingual teacher who teaches in Spanish, I don't think it's best practice to install the Spanish keyboard, only because from my understanding in European countries, the keyboards may be in different places. The keys, are in different places, and we don't want to confuse our students or our learners by having them try to memorize a brand new keyboard setup. So I'm just going to recommend today that we install the International and Extended. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of the Chromebook settings. They should already be set. And now I'm going to show you how we can see those languages. If you notice by your user icon, you see the letters US. This is indicating that I'm using the standard US keyboard, the one that the Chromebook automatically is defaulted to. If I were to click one more time in my status bar, I can see now that I've got this indicator of which keyboard I'm using. Right now I'm using US keyboard. If you click on it once, you'll see the International and Extended keyboard as well. You can click on the one you want to choose, and down here at your status bar, it's indicating INTL, that's International. If I click one more time, I can toggle to the Extended. A shortcut that I like to use is holding down three keys on your keyboard, the Control, Shift, and the space bar. I know you can't see my fingers typing, but if you keep your eyes down here at the status bar, you're going to see the languages toggling between each other. So Control, Shift, Spacebar. US is the standard. Control, Shift, Spacebar. Now I'm International. Control, Shift, Spacebar. Here I am back at the Extended. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the pros and cons of each of those language settings. So at this time, I'm going to show you a quick presentation that I've created explaining the pros and cons. First, we're going to look at the US Extended Keyboard input method. If you see this chart that I've gathered from another source, which I've cited up here, you can see the keys that you need to press to create these special characters. So the pros for the keyboard, US Extended Keyboard, is that basically it's pretty simple. You just have to click on your right Alt button. If you look down at your keyboard, next to your space bar, you're going to have an Alt button to the left and to the right. For all of these new keyboard input methods, we're going to be using the right Alt key. The left Alt key won't apply that special character. So the right Alt key, press and hold, and click on that letter. Right here it has them capitalized, but you don't have to press Shift or anything. Just press the regular A key on your keyboard, and then you will create this special character. You can follow the steps for the rest of the keys. Some of the cons that I've noticed as I was experimenting with this keyboard input method was that the upside down exclamation mark, which might be used in maybe narrative writing if somebody is yelling or excited about something, in that dialogue, the right Alt and the one does not work. That actually creates, it looks like to me, an exponent with number one. But to create that upside down exclamation point, all you have to do is click that right Alt key, the Shift button, and the number one, and that will create that. So I've made that change on this chart for you. Remember, you have to hold that right Alt key down. All right, if you decide to use the US International Keyboard input method, one of the pros is that you don't have to use the Alt Shift 1 button. You can just do the right Alt 1 button and it'll automatically generate that. However, you lose the functionality of your apostrophe key. I haven't seen any other losses in functions, but that one's one that I noticed. However, if you press that apostrophe key, which is next to your enter button, and you press a letter, most of the time an accent will appear on the letter that you clicked on. So a couple of them don't work. For example, the T, it doesn't give you an accent mark, but on most letters, it'll give you that accent mark if you press the apostrophe. So now in this international, there's two ways to make these special characters for the most part. However, I would just stick to the chart just to keep it simple. And again, make sure you're using that right Alt key. If you don't want to install a language input and you just want to keep that regular US, keyboard input method that's standard, that the default is, there are some Unicode characters where you can make those special characters. However, it's kind of a lot to remember. You have to hold the Control-Shift buttons and then type these 4 digits after the letter U. So if you wanted to make this A with an accent, you hold Control, you hold Shift, and then with your other finger or hand, you can press U00E1 spacebar, and then that character will appear. This method physically takes a little bit longer, so this may not be your best practice, especially with your new digital learners and with students. But it is just an option that I wanted you to be aware of. Something that I've used with my own students is I've had them, once they're logged into their Chrome browser or using their Chromebook and logged in, I've had them download a Spanish characters extension. It looks similar, or looks like this. When you are looking at it next to your Omniboard, it looks like this ñ, yellow icon. And what you do is once it's installed, once you click on that extension, the Spanish characters, window will pop up. All you've got to do is click on the character that you need and paste it in whatever space that you're typing. I've taught my students the shortcut to paste, which is Control-V, to make that process a little bit faster. But for our young digital learners, this is just a simple way, a much easier way for them to type using those accents instead of trying to remember all of those codes that I mentioned earlier. The only cons that I really see is that these are the only characters available. So if you need another special character, it won't be applicable. If you have touchscreen Chromebooks and you want to change them into tablet mode, if students or yourself are familiar with creating special characters in tablets, all you've got to do is press and hold on a letter and your options for those special characters will appear. So if your students are using touchscreens, that's another option for them. That might be simple. Let's say maybe you're in a computer lab and you're not on a Chromebook. I've also made something similar to this. You can make it into a poster or a little printout for your students that they can tape to their binders or folders. It has the shortcuts basically. The numbers indicating, you also have to use the Alt key and then the number on the keypad to the right. So if you try these codes with the numbers above the alphabet, it won't work. You're going to need to use that right number keypad. The one pro that I've seen for this method is that I can create the dialogue, the guion, or that long dash when you're using dialogue and typing in like maybe narrative Spanish or quoting something. Some cons is you've got to use that keypad, and it's a lot of numbers for digital learners to memorize. But with practice, you can do it. I believe in you. This is a similar chart. They're different numbers, but it's a similar way to create those special characters. Here's the little degree symbol for you science teachers. If you're using a Mac, here are some options. Instead of the Alt or the Control, it's usually the Option key, the letter E, and then whichever letter you want. So if you want this A, it's Option, the letter E, then the A, and then that special character will appear. It's only different if you want that. It's like the ñ. You'll have to press another key for those. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, my district email and extension can be seen below. If you'd like to add me on social media, my Twitter handle is @Cersei_edtech, or you can add me as a friend on Facebook. I am Maestra Gonzalez. I'm so excited to support the growth of CFB and all digital learners as they become creators, collaborators, curators, communicators, and critical thinkers. Thanks for watching.